Welcome, birds and turds, to the Angry Bird Pod Show. I'm your host, Kyle. Over in that direction is my co-host, Matt. And once again, we have another member to bring to you guys. I guess it's customary for me to ask Matt how he's doing first. So, Matt, how are you?
Excellent. Wonderful.
We didn't just spend an hour trying to make stuff work, but that's fine.
It's kind of been something that's been, it's almost like a ritual for us.
It's been an unfortunate trend, for sure.
But we're here. We're ready to do this.
We're here, and we have our friend Rain on the podcast today. How you doing, Rain?
Good, yeah. I'd like to think that was the quickest tech startup so far.
It was definitely fairly painless, but it was still a frustrating experience. But I think we're all better for having gone through it together.
I feel like Rain jinxed this by thinking we should do a run through like a week or two before to make sure everything's ready to go.
Wait, prepare ahead of time? Fuck that.
Yeah, we're like, no, we've never had a problem so far. We have a problem every time. So why not? Why not continue? Exactly. Well, I'm glad you're here to join us. Finally.
100%.
Yeah.
First things first, sort of. I know Matt's already opened, but I'm going to open my Twisted Tea. I don't know if you have one, Rain, but open something.
Look what I brought.
What a Chad. What a guy. Wow. Absolutely.
It's awesome. A little bit warm. It's been sitting here for an hour. But
True. Mine too. So we're equivalently having warm Twisted Teas.
I'm pleasantly surprised you brought yours.
Legitimately?
You've listened to the show before, I assume.
I listened to one episode, yeah.
Good.
Can you imagine if he hadn't and then he just happened to have one? That'd be incredible.
Oh, you guys like Twisted Teas?
I just drink Twisted Tea as a normal, yeah.
Yeah, that's fucking awesome.
Well, now that you're a Nat Geo photographer, you can afford Twisted Teas, so.
Oh yeah, you must be rolling it.
I upgraded from PBR.
That is a very Albertan beer, isn't it?
PBR?
Pabst Blue Ribbon, like that's pretty big over there.
It was a big thing in university too. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it's a West Coast thing for sure. I don't know.
Yeah.
So what are we going to talk about? Because we haven't discussed this, and my brain's been full of trying to make cameras and stuff work for the last hour. So I have little to no ideas of what to talk about.
Oh, we're going to talk about Rain. I wanted to be graced with the presence of, like I said, a Nat Geo published photographer, and who better than our good buddy Rain to come on and talk about his journey from slums to riches.
Assume it's pretty similar to Canadian Geographic, eh, Matt?
No, it's the redheaded stepchild.
Am I the only one here not published in any kind of geographic? Because I feel good now.
That's possible. You might be.
Yeah, definitely.
That is possible. Yeah.
Unless one was stolen from me that I wasn't aware of.
Is there like a Ontario Geographic? Maybe.
I really wanted to bring him on though, because like when I go through his stuff on Instagram, I gotta shuffle through a lot of reels to get to any photos. So just wanted him to come on and to kind of explain himself on his new endeavor into the nuance of reels.
That's 2 weeks in a row we've been asking about reels.
Yeah, we've had Trav in the bush and Rain in the clouds and
Rain in the ditch.
Rain in the ditch. That's what it was.
That's better. Rain in the ditch.
And you've had a new endeavor of YouTube. All right. So yeah, one of the big reasons I wanted to get you on here is I know you as a wildlife photographer, and not so much as a reel maker or a YouTube content creator. So I just brought you on here, an influencer. I brought you on to explain yourself on the new endeavors.
Explain, yeah. No, I think it's just trying to provide a bit more variety out there. I think there's only so much engagement, at least on Instagram, with photos these days. So I don't know even if you ever go to post anything on Instagram now, like the first suggestion that comes up is like post a reel. It's like usually I scroll past that and post a photo. So obviously they're kind of developing their platform for how they want to use it and get people using the app and get people more engaged so they get more ad revenue and all of that stuff. Yeah. But anyways, I trying to post some videos and behind the scenes stuff to try and get people a little bit more engaged in that side of things, and trying to be a little bit more unique, because there's hundreds of thousands of people out there posting wildlife photos. There's less people posting reels, I think. So
I think they're certainly trying to push the personality brand where they want people to more kind of market themselves more than photos themselves. It's like who can be the bigger personality, and that's kind of what that platform's kind of turned into.
Me.
It's certainly easy to say that photos are dead. I can even look at some of my insights, and it's 100% of the views, 100% of the likes are all the people that follow me to begin with. So there's certainly that change in trend. So if you're looking to grow anything as an account, you almost have to show yourself more and present your own personality.
yeah, for sure. I even just looking at some of my recent posts here, because I figured you'd ask me about this, but that Merlin photo that I posted a couple days ago, like that, it got a lot of comments and likes and everything, but in terms of the actual accounts it reached, it was like just over 1,000. Like it wasn't that much. And then I posted this stupid reel about this dead grouse that I found, and it got like 27,000 views or something like that. Like,
wow,
out of nowhere, and it's like 90% new accounts. So wow. I didn't think it was a special video or anything, but it might have been because I put that. You can put the option to like do a poll, and I did like, who killed this grouse? Was it a cougar, or falcon, owl, whatever? And I think a lot of people were like coming back to that to figure out who did it, but.
Right. So there was some engagement. There's kind of engagement baiting more or less involved that kind of pushed it
a little bit
kind of through the algorithm.
Wait, are you a baiter?
A little bit.
Oh, sick. Okay, that's fine.
Just engagement, not the wildlife. Just engagement.
Oh,
he's an ethical baiter.
Just a virtual baiter.
Virtual baiter.
But I do appreciate. I do like that you're pushing yourself out there in different avenues. I think if you do want to grow your account, you can't be like me and be grumpy and complain about something that basically, an account or an app like Instagram is certainly trending a certain way, and me complaining about it not being the app of yesteryears or not being the app that it used to be really doesn't serve any purpose. It's not what it is, and I'm probably using it incorrectly if I am complaining about it. I don't think I'm complaining so much about engagement. I'm more complaining about what I see regularly, which is kind of the pushing of the personality and stuff like that. So I'm probably on the wrong platform, to be honest. I'm not sure if there's another alternative. I just recently started to dive into like 500px again. Not that there's a lot of engagement and stuff like that, but licensing a couple photos and stuff like that, just to kind of stay more in the image side of things. Is that anything that you're doing, or are you really just focused? You're focused right now. Do you want to grow that account? Or you just want to have fun?
Yeah, just having fun, trying to create some different stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I know your personality, right? And it's quirky, it's fun.
Yeah.
You do have a lot to add to the algorithm with your quirkiness. So. Yeah. If anybody should do it, I mean, it's you.
Yeah. No, just trying to explore and see what we can create here.
I know. I always appreciated seeing your photos, even looking at them right now. You're one hell of a shot. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I go through the feed and I see a reel, I go, oh no, not him now, not him.
Oh shoot!
They've got him. They captured him.
Yeah, no, we'll see how it goes. But I think back to your comments about trying to be grumpy about how things are now. I think there's kind of 3 categories you can fall into. You can fall into that category that's just grumpy about new things, the algorithm, and all this stuff. And then there's people who are trying to kind of adapt to what's new now. And then there's the people who are actually kind of ahead or like leading with it. Like, think of the first people who were like on reels before reels were even a thing, and they probably blew up a lot quicker than people trying to make reels right now.
Sure.
So
I would think so.
Yeah.
Being ahead of that trend, right? Like, it certainly pays dividends.
Yeah. And then there's the people who are trying to they say, oh, I miss the wave, I miss the reels wave, I can't do reels anymore. Well, I don't know. I think you still can if you have good content to share.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of feel that way about podcasts a little bit. Like, I feel like maybe we should have started this sooner. But now I'm just thinking, like, I'm not necessarily doing it for, like, clout, really. But, like, it's just a lot of fun. So I guess if you approach it with the same mindset, you're just like, I'm just having fun making reels, then it probably makes your mindset a little more at ease anyway.
I think so. And you know, like, you're gonna grow as, just like this podcast, you're gonna grow as each episode or
this is
as
growing?
each reel individually.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Just individually, you're gonna grow. You're gonna get better. You're gonna be able to, just like Rain and doing reels. You're gonna grow. You're gonna know what works. You're gonna be able to, you know, kind of put them out there and do better each time. And that's kind of the thing. You want to see some sort of progression, and you know, that's, I think, why you do it. I like organic growth. I'm assuming you do as well, Rain. It's kind of like, you're not out there to get them all overnight. You're just out there to have fun, and hopefully organically you just kind of grow with the app.
Yeah,
because it's kind of followers like next week.
It's kind of pointless to continue posting photos if your idea is to grow the account, you know, as Wings by Rain. It's kind of just pointless to keep posting photos, although they are beautiful photos. I still admire them and appreciate them myself. I still look at them and you got a real nice moodiness to them.
I feel like I always, I don't look at I have multiple Instagram accounts just to keep things separate, like I've mentioned before. And I find I don't watch reels on my wildlife one for some reason. Like, I only watch reels on my just everything one, where it's just funny, stupid shit. Because usually when I'm on, me personally, when I'm on Instagram, I want to see video or pictures from people that I follow, because I'm like, I follow you because I like your pictures, or because you followed me and I'm a nice guy, or I felt bad because they didn't have very many followers, so I just liked them in anyway. But like, I still, at least on my bird photography account, only look at pictures. Like, I rarely watch reels on it. Actually, you can confirm this, Matt. Usually I send you reels from my other account, right?
You do, yeah.
Yep. So I'm not lying for clout or anything.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. It depends on, I guess, who's using the app, but I feel like that I'm probably in the minority these days.
Mm-hmm. Do you appreciate a wildlife reel? Or are you more like a comedy, Kyle?
I do occasionally. I don't like ones that are a little bit ridiculous. So one of the ones, I think we spoke about it with Travis, when people like come out of the water with like a 600 F4 and it's like, and it's all this dramatic, like, and like, that's whatever. Like, it's their style and they can do what they want. But the reason I'm there is to just get inspiration to take other pictures, or seeing what other people are doing and go, oh, I could try to do that, or I could, that's a cool angle of that bird I never thought of before, or something like that. Like, that's why I'm there.
Right. Has your feed been replaced with reels?
Just generally in the last like year or 2 years, or like what?
Just generally, like, from you now doing it, is that something that you seek, or is that something that you notice the algorithm pushing to you?
Oh, I think YouTube or Instagram just gives me ads, mostly ads, and then
it's mostly ads.
Mostly ads, and then sometimes it'll show a photo from Kyle or Matt or someone else on there.
It never shows mine. Don't even lie. Absolutely never shows mine.
No, just wonder if it curates more, because that's kind of what you're pushing out. If it's pushing more reels. No. You know those 3 little dots. I'll click it and be like, this doesn't apply to me.
Oh yeah.
Get this. I am probably gonna buy sunglasses next month because I saw the ad on Instagram. So unfortunately, it kind of does work. But
ads do work.
Yeah. Unfortunately,
ads for me are usually like photographers that I may not follow or I have unfollowed, and then now I see their stuff as an ad, and I'm like, I thought I got rid of you.
Like, shit, he's back.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, no, I don't think I watched a ton of wildlife reels. I'd say most of the reels I watched are just like comedy stuff like that.
Yeah.
Stuff that my friends send me, like sports stuff and stuff like that.
So you haven't gone full reel. You still appreciate seeing a nice feed of images.
Oh yeah, I'd prefer if it was back in the old day where it was just chronological image and I could just go through it and I could actually see my friends' photos. That would be great. Yeah.
That's
Like,
interesting because I don't see many. Like even if I have like a favorites list, like it
Yeah.
still doesn't quite curate that for me.
I know, like sometimes I go on, I'm like, I haven't seen one of Cream's photos in a while. And like, he must not be posting. Of course, he posts every day, and it's not showing me any of it. So I have to
Do
go
you
on.
guys
I'm like,
know when if you push the Instagram, you can see stuff from the things I'm following? So like,
I feel like
you-
I have that
if
selected.
you push the top, can I do this backwards? This will be crazy if I can pull this off.
I know
So
you
if
can
click on
select
Instagram,
see
it
favorites.
says followers and favorites. So you just click
Oh.
following, and it takes you to only things you follow.
Interesting.
Yeah,
But, like-
I did not
doesn't it
know
always
that.
reset every time you open the app? It doesn't.
Yes, it doesn't stay that way because the world sucks.
They're dirty. Yeah.
They are doing us. They're doing us really dirty.
So they secretly give you the option for having what you want, but they don't tell you about it. Like, hey,
Yeah, and then go back to default each time.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty soon there's going to be an Instagram premium, so you got to pay just to see what your friends are posting.
You get a little camera,
$9.99
check mark
a
instead
month.
of a blue dot.
Unfortunately, I think you're right about that. Like I could see that as a feature coming.
Probably. Will I buy that? We'll find it.
You can get like the photography package where you won't see reels.
Wait, are we talking about Adobe
If you
now?
pay $3.99,
It just
Oh,
gives
my
you a
Ado-
bunch of things to filter through.
Just check boxes.
I almost canceled my Adobe. It went up like $4 plus tax, and I was like, I don't know if I can do this anymore. And then I forgot about how nicely it deletes things from my images, and I go, I can't get rid of this.
Yeah, they've
I
got
can't
me.
do it in camera yet. so-
There's no going back. All my edits, 20,000 photos are saved on that thing. So yeah, there's no
Yeah.
going back.
It's either I pay $4 a month plus tax, or I have to get a lens that's not f11 and spend the money. So I don't have to edit the shit out of it. So
You want that bokeh slider.
So you don't have to use lens blur on every photo. Yeah.
Yeah.
that's my specialty is lens blur.
Matt sent me an incredible, I think it was a red-throated loon photo of it like standing up with his wings out. And he's like, what's wrong with this? Or no, he said, what equipment do you think this was taken with? And like, whenever he asked me that, I know it's like some really expensive photography kit that someone's using really shittily. So I was like, I don't know, an R5 II and a 600 F4. He was like, R1, but yes. And this just
I
thing,
know.
it was an F4 lens, and they just took the lens blur and went boosh. So it's just like,
I sent the same one to Rain specifically.
oh, okay.
Just
That's
so we
awesome.
could kind of. I was wondering if it would be brought up on the podcast.
It's almost like we planned it.
But it wasn't even the photo itself that was offensive. It was the edit, right?
To me,
Yeah.
for sure.
It was glowing, and the lens blur was at 100. And
The photo looked great. It didn't need any lens blur. It was a great photo. Yeah.
it already
Yeah.
had it.
Yeah.
I just see
Why-
those things, and I'm just like, why do people just degrade their work with? Well, I guess it's just a lack of understanding
Yeah. You know what's
on the
shocking?
editing end.
Yeah, it's kind of shocking to me too when I see people who I think are really good photographers still using the lens blur and just giving that kind of like fake AI looking background, and I'm just kind of like, do you not see what's going on here? Like it just kind of ruins the image for me. But
Okay.
Do you think a lot of people? Hold on, one sec. Do you think a lot of people though believe that Instagram is going to hide that?
oh, I think it can. I think 99% of people won't know. It's just a very niche group of photographers who use the tools and know exactly what that type of look looks like. You can see it right away. So
Okay.
I think it does hide it. Yeah.
Okay.
I find.
Go ahead, Kyle.
Well, I was gonna say, the poll was gonna be: is doing that worse than a sky replacement? I don't know. I think I still hate sky replacements more than anything in the world.
I think I don't. I think a sky replacement's worse.
I think sky replacement that isn't labeled as a sky replacement and wins a award from Exposure One Shot is probably worse. Not
What am I missing?
That sounds
What am I
like
mi-
you're
What am I
implying
missing
something.
here? I'm not sure I'm following.
You might not have been up to speed on the chat yesterday, but anyways.
Oh,
Oh,
no,
this is
definitely
recent.
Yeah.
No, I didn't
Yeah.
realize.
Wait,
So a photo won an award, and it was a clear
Oh yeah.
background replacement.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember that bald eagle photo that I shared like months ago that had the mountains in the background and it kind of looked like it
Yeah.
was a wide angle mountain shot, but the eagle
But was
was
it
like
flying?
yeah, it was flying.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that guy won the People's Choice Award for some,
that's the problem. When it's people, they don't know what the fuck they're looking at.
Oh, trust me, people are the problem.
People are the problem. That's for sure a thing.
that people
Actually-
are the problem.
Well, it was funny because this week you've put me on to another podcast called the Photographer Mindset.
Yes.
Have you?
I'm in love with it.
Yeah. Have you told Rain to listen to it yet?
I mentioned it in the group. I'm sure
Okay.
he noticed or
Yeah.
caught wind of the conversation, but
They were
whether
talk-
he's listened or not, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I think
the one
I
episode
missed that one.
Oh, it's a good one. You should
Okay.
listen to it. But the one thing they were talking about on one of the recent episodes was kind of something we've talked a lot about, Matt, was that like when you get people just saying like, "Oh, great shot," when they don't really know what they're looking at, it's not
Yeah.
offering you any constructive criticism
Yeah.
or like notes for improvement. They're just like,
Right.
"A cardinal on a fence, sick," and you're like, "Great." Well, what can I do better?
Do you think that is a little bit of baiting itself? Like if I comment, maybe they'll visit my feed. Do you think there's anything like that going on?
Maybe there's a hope from the person.
Rain, do you do that?
I'm not a big commenter unless it really catches my eye, or it
I-
catches
same.
my eye for the wrong reason. I might be more likely to comment than
I was just gonna
Yeah.
say that's more common, isn't it? We do tend to lay it on at times. We get a little bored, and you'll be like, "Hey, look what I just commented." And I'm like, "Be right back. I'm gonna add to it."
I've definitely
yeah, we're the worst. We're the absolute worst.
I'm having fun though.
Yeah.
Like,
just shit posting on people's
unfortunately, it's at other people's expense, and we try to be tongue in cheek about it. But I think we're having fun at least.
Yeah.
I want a little transparency, you know.
Rain, were you part of the Grebe pun shit on my one Grebe post recently?
I've heard your green puns. I might
not-
have commented.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just like that's funny. Like I wish that happened more often. But like that's good kind of shit posting. But I'm like
Yeah.
I always still want to be like this when someone says, "What do you think?" if it's on Facebook or Instagram and I tell them what I think and it's negative and they get mad at me, I'm like, "What the fuck are you doing then asking me what I think?" Just post it and don't say anything and I might refrain from saying that your photo doesn't need all that lens blur or sharpening or a sky replacement or a new background for other reasons. Like, I don't
It's
know.
almost like false hope, where they're kind of convinced themselves and they're expecting it's only going to be positive, and then when it's not, they're like, "That's not what I wanted to hear."
But should it be someone's responsibility to be like, "I think you shouldn't push the lens blur slider past like 30. Like, don't go to 94."
It is interesting that Adobe allows it to get as far as it does. Like,
Deep
don't you
fry
put wouldn't you put blame on Adobe? What needs that much lens
So
blur?
here's the thing. I played around with lens blur a lot when it first came
You
out.
had.
Yeah. And well, kind of what I found is it really depends on the photo. So there's certain photos you push it past 10, it's going to be really noticeable. And there's other photos you can get away with pushing it up like 90 plus and you can get away with posting it. So I think when it first came out, I edited a bunch of photos. I posted them all on my story and I asked people to vote, is lens blur used here? Is it not? And it was like a crapshoot for what people thought was used. A lot of them, people thought I was using it, I wasn't, or I was using it, and yeah, vice versa. So
What photos did it perform best on? Did you find a trend? Did you notice a trend? What were they close? But were the subjects closer to your front element? Was it a certain type of background? Like, was there anything that you noticed while doing this?
yeah, there's really two things. I think first you need to have just a clean background to begin with, because then all it's doing is just making a clean background a little bit cleaner. And then you need to make sure there's no like feather detail on the edges, because lens blur loves to just go in and make a nice clean edge on that feather detail. And if you just you don't even have to pixel peep a lot. You just kind of look closely and you can be like, oh, that feather just kind of vanishes into nowhere. So that type of photo you can get away with. The photos where there's like a lot of background going on and there's a lot of like layering in the background, lens blur kind of just, I think, merges everything together. It doesn't really know how to gauge the depth very well, and your eyes can kind of inherently say like those should be at different levels of focus, but now they're kind of all merged together. So I think that's what kind of gives it away.
So you just have to go through it with some sort of tool remover and just get rid of those unwanted hairs, you know what I mean, or unwanted feathers that have been affected by the mask.
We are walking down the path that takes us to just typing in commands and making AI make all your photos. Like that. This is the
We're
path.
there already if you really want to.
No, I know, but like that's where we're going.
Yeah.
I'm here for it. I mean, I say do whatever you want, just
Disclose.
and I've been guilty. I don't even know about disclose, especially on Instagram. Why do I have to disclose what I'm gonna post? There's no rules. It's not a contest. There's no prizes. There's no money involved, unless you strike a deal with somebody, and it's running off false narratives, and they're gonna figure you out quickly. But if you're just kind of enjoying yourself, unless you're physically typing into a command prompt and producing an image and posting it. Actually, even at that point, like everyone, you can tell if it's a full AI image. I'm just trying to figure out. I
can. Some people can't. I'm convinced.
Right, but what's the offense though? What's the offense if an account out there has 70,000 followers and it's all AI photos?
In my opinion, nothing if they say this is AI. But if they think
what if
I'm
they
a
don't?
photographer, then I think it's my opinion. I think it's kind of like passing off fake products as the real product to me. So if you're cloning like a purse or something and calling it the other thing, that's wrong. So to me, it's the same thing. If you're cloning a picture and not saying it's a clone, it's wrong. Or cloning AI.
Okay, so you're suggesting it if like their bio suggests that they are a photographer and
Correct.
they're going out to take the photos. Okay, that's different. I'm just saying, just a general person. My name's Earl, and then you're seeing a bunch, and then you're seeing a bunch of AI photos. Like I just don't see.
That's fine.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair. 'Cause nobody's really making money off it. But so how many? What percentage of your photos are AI, Rain?
Probably 95%.
Nice.
Yeah.
You got me by 1%.
I mean, no, to be honest, like if you're going to count the AI stick removal, I probably use that in 90% of the photos anyways. So, I mean, AI is kind of a spectrum, a grayscale, right? Like there's kind of the full AI background replacement or subject add, but there's also little things like AI, like detect subject or AI remove stick. Like that's still AI. So it's kind of a spectrum. Where do you draw the line?
I don't draw it there.
I'm still trying to figure out what the line is. It's kind of
again, like for a platform like Instagram, I don't draw a line there. Like I said, if it's some sort of competition that does have guidelines, then you're going to be found out and you're probably pushing limits. But when it comes to stick removal, I think you should try to present your photo as best as possible and use the tools that are available. And I don't know if full transparency needs to be conducted when it comes to just a personal page, unless you're otherwise stating like straight out of camera photos, nothing's been touched. If you're trying to, skew an audience a certain way, then you're not being transparent. But otherwise, like, I don't know. I don't really see an issue when it comes to that. I think you should use the tools available and produce and present the best possible image that you can.
No, for sure. I think kind of my goal is always to try and get a photo where I don't have to touch anything or I just have to do minor exposure or color adjustments. But, if there's an annoying piece of dirt or stick or something in the photo that doesn't substantially change the story of the photo, I'm going to remove that. Like you're kind of just leaving yourself behind if you don't, unless I'm submitting it to some competition where they say you can't do that.
Yeah.
Riddle me this.
I've noticed. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, if we're all, I think, we're all about kind of improving, and every time, at least for me, every time I go out, I try to improve my photography. I try to make sure to remember, like, get low, eye level, certain size of subject, and not cropping and all that stuff. To me, part of that is finding angles to shoot stuff that isn't necessarily through sticks. So what I can kind of see happening is people just losing that and just erasing sticks they don't want, even if they're in the way. So if we're saying to that's fine, there has to be a line somewhere where you're just not going to take any old picture of anything with sticks everywhere and just remove everything, right?
Yeah.
Great. Perfect. Perfect. But I'm like, that's sort of, I always try to think down the road of what's happening. So I'm like, I could take this picture and remove this stick. The next time I'm going to be like, oh, I can just remove that stick later. And then 3 weeks later, I'm like, I can remove this whole forest. 4 weeks after that, I'm like, this whole background is different. And then now I'm at an AI picture. So I'm like trying.
So there's some laziness, I guess, involved, is what you're saying. You can become lazy.
It kind of, because like it does take some effort to remove sticks well. So one of my favorites is people who remove a stick up to a point that it doesn't make sense that a stick wouldn't be there anymore. So it's like there's a stick going behind something and it doesn't come back out, or like
right.
A stick goes through in front of a bird, stops, and then it's on this side of the bird still there. Like, you could still do it badly. So there is some skill involved with removing stuff well. So it's a different skill, I think.
I think there's a correlation to the individuals that would probably do something like that and present it that way. To also, they would also be taking those photos out in the field and bringing them home that way as well. Like, I think there is a correlation there. Like, those are the same individuals. And I think we've all been there. I just think that, like, if you're trying to improve, or you're at the point where your mindset is that you're willing to improve, you'll take that consideration of that stick being there. And yeah, you might remove it this time, but you might try to remember the next time you go out to try to get those sticks out of the way. I think the people, I just think that the people that are going to do that are going to do that anyway. I think it's just kind of that's the narrative.
Could be.
Maybe they're not, willing to, I don't know. I'm not sure. Like, for a perfect example for me is, how a lot of the times photos on Instagram are presented better, like 4x5 or 5x4.
Mm-hmm.
It takes up more space. I used to shoot portrait oriented to have those photos potentially on the memory card. So if I wanted to post that photo that way, I would use that image. Well, with like AI fill and like expand canvas, I can just take the normal landscape and crop it to 4x5, expand it, and then fill it in, and AI just creates what should have been there, and then I can post it that way. So I don't know, is that lazy? Sometimes it's presented better that way.
Depends on it depends on what you're trying to do with the photo, I guess.
Sometimes I don't know. Like, you know what I mean? Sometimes the photo it's fine landscape, but Instagram on a 5-inch screen cropped down into a thumbnail scale usually doesn't look very good, 3:2 or 16:9. So sometimes just changing that orientation, but you haven't taken that shot out in the field. And with the tools that you have these days, you can just expand that canvas and fill it in and then present it that way. I mean, with the tools there, why not? Sometimes you don't have the time to take that photo in that orientation, or sometimes you forget that it might look better, that orientation. I don't know. I just think there's a difference between the laziness of it, of just like ignoring every stick that's in there and then just planning on removing it in post with the idea, or just using the tools that you have to present the photos or your feed the way that you want to for yourself. Like, because nobody else really knows. Like, I'm curating the feed myself the way I want it to be presented. Yeah. And sometimes it is just kind of changing that orientation and adding a bit top and bottom and cropping it that way.
I think the one thing I learned with doing a lot more video recently, whether it's just taking videos for fun or YouTube or even taking reels, if you take a photo and you remove a bunch of stuff, if you also want to use that video of that same scene, it's going to be pretty hard to make it look the same. Someone's going to look at your photo and be like, look at your video and be like, where'd that stick go? And it just kind of disappeared in your photo and it's in your video. So
I think Dwayne Payton actually shows that. So he'll show like the unedited, and then he does that like crop thing, and then it shows what he's removed and brightened and stuff. So I don't mind that, because it shows like this is what I did to the picture to show kind of a thought process maybe. So I don't really mind that.
Yeah, he's probably the most transparent YouTuber that I've seen, because the way that he does present it that way. You can see what he's done. You can see the original raw. You can see how he's cropped in or skewed it.
He'll fill in
remove something,
edges and stuff. Like he'll add stuff to the outside too. So
yeah, I think the whole spectrum is just kind of, it's under the umbrella, and it's it can be abused, and we see it abused a lot. And I think that's kind of where we're trying to find that happy medium. And I think that happy medium still lives with inside you and what you're happy with. And if you don't like what somebody's doing,
the friends we made along the way.
Yeah, but if you're not interested, there is an unfollow button. True. I use it a lot.
Yeah, I do.
I don't know.
I unfollow. I will at least on Facebook. What's the like unfollow is different than unfriend. I was like, I don't want to see this guy's shit anymore, but I also don't want to offend him by like not being his friend anymore.
The mute button.
But, yeah, basically. For me, I think the reason I have some opinions is just because I know that I'm going to do that. So if I'm starting the path of deleting sticks, I know that I'll get lazy and just be like, psh, I can delete that and stick and post. It's fine. And just start getting really sloppy with my pictures. So I kind of want for myself to improve and consider that there are sticks in the way when taking the picture. And can I move a little bit to like make the sticks naturally go away?
For sure.
Because I know that I would get lazy. So maybe that's why I have that thought that it's just me. I would do that. So I need to be conscious of it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
And I think we were all conscious of it before the birth of AI.
I don't like that term, the birth of AI. That sounds like some Terminator shit.
It is.
I know. the first time someone comes out with Skynet, I'm moving to like Mars or something. I'm out of here.
I believe there is an AI company out there called
Probably,
Skynet.
because why wouldn't there be?
I think there is.
There's going to be like Skynet and trucks with Umbrella Corp on the side. I'm be like, oh, we're fucked. We are so screwed.
I want to stop talking about other people's photos because I could do this all day, and I want to talk a little bit more about Rain's. I think that a lot of your photos carry a lot of deep mood. I notice a lot of your photos have a little bit of like soft light and solitude. Is that intentional by you, or is that more just kind of location based, or do you even agree with my assessment?
I probably haven't thought about it too much. I think I'm just trying to go for a subject that's isolated and a nice scene. If I can get an opportunity to try and incorporate more environment, but not make it distracting. That's kind of my ultimate goal with some of the recent photos I've been taking with that Merlin or the ptarmigan photo that I know Matt says is a nature photo, but we're going to discuss that later with I think Mark.
Shit.
But yeah, no, I don't think I describe it as solitude, but be curious to hear a bit more what you think about that, or some examples, maybe some certain photos.
All right, let's see. I'm trying not to close out any.
Mm-hmm. I'm just
any
looking at my
don't make us start over again here.
Let's see.
So
I have to go through all these reels. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You have a long-billed dowitcher here.
Right.
And it was through a steamy waterway into an inflow at sunrise. I mean, if that doesn't describe solitude, then I don't know what does.
Well, that's what I put into the AI queue to generate the photo.
But I do notice a trend in your photos of a little bit more there's moodiness involved in it.
Yeah.
There's one here with you love turbines. You have a rough-legged hawk waiting patiently on a bird box. There's a lot of mood to that photo.
Yeah, I took that one with Jack. He actually couldn't even see the bird. He was looking out the other window.
I'm not surprised. I think he's blind.
He was looking around. He's like, where's the owls out here? I said, I was out here just out the window shooting this rough-legged hawk with the sun. And then I showed it to him back of camera. He's like, where was that? I'm like, oh, it just flew off.
It's gone.
You also have the Calgary. I don't know. It's not the Seattle Needle, but it's the Calgary.
Oh, the CN Tower.
Yeah, the Calgary CN Tower with the great horned owl. That's another kind of photo I'm thinking of.
Yeah, that one's.
You know, there's definitely. I wouldn't say they're all like that, but maybe those are the ones that kind of strike me as like kind of your signature style.
Okay.
Maybe that's kind of.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Like a lot of those are silhouette photos that you just talked about. So.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
I was going to mention.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to mention the egret photo, because it's kind of just a lonely egret in a tree, and there's some mood there. Like he's lonely. He needs some attention. He needs some friends or something.
I don't even remember that. Oh, that's printed on my wall right beside me. I should remember that one.
I don't remember that.
He's looking right at it.
There it is.
Yeah, it's just like I don't mind it. For me, I do like a moody, darker edit generally, and I think that.
Yeah,
myself,
well, you should go to. I can toss in the chat JM_wildlife. He did a bit more of a moody edit on that one for you.
Okay.
I think Matt. And
is that the one we're talking about?
Yeah. I'm surprised Matt's not laughing here.
I just realized about it. That's the one you called me out on my great horned owl on.
Yeah, and then I shared it with Jack. He's like, let's see the raw, and then I'm like, well, that is the raw. He's like, what? How does he do that? I'm like,
can I explain that one real quick? I think I explained to you via text, but maybe not. So I was at this local Ducks Unlimited pond on this 2,500 acre kind of property, public crown land property that I go to, and I was surveying the area to see what kind of ducks were in there at the time, and just off to my right there was some crows mobbing a great horned owl, and I'm thinking, if I go at this thing directly, it's just going to fly away. So I backtracked a bit, took through the forest, and I ended up in this really, really, really confined cedar kind of stand. And I had a small little area that I could shoot through, and I had the 800 on, and I shot right through the small little area of cedar leaves, and it created this vignette kind of around the scene where the light was hitting the owl, and it just created that kind of mood. So not that was intended, but when I realized the shot that was going to come of it, I was kind of happy with kind of how it played out. It certainly wasn't the idea when I was trying to encroach on the owl a little bit. The scene kind of popped in when I was standing in the cedars. It knew I was there, but I think rather than actually physically seeing me right out in the open and flying away, it was still kind of like focused on what's in the bush. And I was able to kind of shoot through this foreground, which kind of allowed the dark vignetting around the owl, and that's how I got the effect.
No, that's cool. No, yeah. See, when Jack and I were shooting that egret, it was just a cloudy, overcast day, so there was going to be no chance that you could get that effect. So I mean, and it's
I see that. Yeah, I see that on your rendition. That everything, it's more of a flat kind of diffused lighting.
It's pretty flat, but I mean, the trees are dark, the background's dark, the bird's pretty white, so it kind of naturally, it's contrasty enough normally. Sure. I guess you could exaggerate it, and you could go in, and I know why Jack did that. Like we talked about it a little bit, and he's like, well, I knew we were shooting together. I wanted to make mine a little bit different than yours, and I get that. So that was kind of his edit style, and I'm sure a lot of people love that kind of moody edit. But,
of course.
Yeah.
Of course. I say present it any way you'd like to. But what I did notice is you actually shot it with the 200-400 f4.
Yeah, that thing's heavy. So, I don't know how Jack shot that for as long as he did.
This is when Jack had that lens. Yeah. I didn't even realize that.
I was like, give me that thing. I need to shoot this egret right now. And Jack's a nice guy. He just handed over the lens, and I gave him my plastic Fantastic, and he did what he could for a while, and then he's like, hey man, can I have the lens back? I kind of want to get my own photo here. I'm like, yeah, just a sec, Jack.
Did he pick up the 1-4 and almost throw it because it's so light?
Yeah, exactly.
The 2-400 is a chunky lens.
Damn.
I remember shooting it with Alex for about an hour down at Lake Ontario, and it was on the R10 when I had it, and just kind of holding it up, waiting for these buff-breasted sandpipers to do something or come out of the foliage was just like painful hell for a while. It's not like our trusty 100-400s.
That's
No,
why
it's
they got
heavy.
all the people with the tripods and shit with big lenses.
Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense. But I also don't want to be subjected to potentially being on a tripod all the time, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get you. I get you. Do you find, speaking of the R10, do you find that
It works
in
really
the
good as a
low-
webcam.
it does when it's set up right? But do you find
Don't
it
jinx
challenging?
it, Kyle.
I know.
Do you find it?
Really, it's only gonna bug me. I'm like, shit.
I've shot the kit that you have minus the 200-800. But do you find the R10 challenging in those lower light situations? And if not, what do you do to be as successful as you are with it?
I mean, it'd be more challenging than an R1 for sure. That said, you know, if you get used to using your own camera and shoot it with the appropriate settings, it's going to work out just fine. Like, sure, if I was shooting something with a R1 or a 24 megapixel full frame sensor, I'm not going to really have to worry about noise in most situations until you get into extreme low light. But with that crop sensor body, 24 megapixel in the crop sensor, even if you go to the R7, you're trying to shoot 32 megapixels. Each of those pixels are going to be capturing way less light than the full frame body. So there's less contrast between the pixels and you get that noise and the less clean rendering. So if you want to produce a photo that's going to look good on your 4K monitor or look good as a print, you're going to have to, really think about your settings a little bit more than if you had a, flagship camera.
So those settings would be keeping the ISO down, which typically means slower shutter speeds, which is a technique in itself.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I don't think I have like an ISO in mind. Say, like, I'm not trying to say, oh, I need to be below ISO 1600 or 3200. It's kind of just in each situation, I'm trying to optimize getting the ISO low. So if I can only get my shutter speed down to whatever 1/50, and that leaves me at ISO 3200, that's what I'm going to shoot, and I'm going to take it for what it is.
Yeah. And you
Right.
also kind of understand the idea of like ambient light plays a big play. Like you can shoot in ISO 4000 or 5000 on that camera if that ambient light is there.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. ISO,
You know what I mean? It's not a for sure cutoff point.
ISO
but-
6400 in mid daylight is going to look way different than ISO 6400 after dark, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you a ISO adjuster or are you an exposure comp adjuster?
I am the exposure comp guy.
Yes!
Except in very rare scenarios where the light's doing wacky things and changing all over the place or shooting backlit, then maybe I'll get my ISO locked in. But I'd say 99% of the time I'm shooting auto ISO with exposure comp.
Cool. I'm just curious because Matt and I kind of butt heads on that topic.
And
a little
I've
bit.
shot that way maybe since I started, even on DSLR. That's how I shot. Even when my Canon SL2 DSLR was terrible at like predicting the exposure, like even if it said it was down a stop, I'd sometimes look at the photos later and it was like way overexposed. I'm like, this is not reading the exposure very accurately. So a lot of the times I would just be a little bit disappointed and then have to pull back the exposure or bring it up or stuff like that. But with mirrorless, it's a complete different game. You're right on your exposure every time.
I'm killing a bug on
As
my
long as
desk
you use the
right now.
histogram.
Yes.
I'm just
You
kidding. I'm
don't-
just kidding.
You don't need those, do you?
Histogram?
Histogram.
Histogram.
Did I was killing a bug, so I might have missed if you said kisstogram or something. Actually,
Rain,
that'd
have
be
you
a really
ever-
good canon pun
Go-
if you said the kisstogram, because the
you-
Japanese DSLRs were called the kisses.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the like
Interesting.
the rebels were all like kiss something. I think that's right. I think I could be entirely making that up.
Rain,
find
have you ever completely like misjudged light and ended up creating something better than you planned?
I don't know if better. I've certainly created things much worse.
Well, that's an
Yeah.
easy one.
That's an easy one. Yeah.
I'm just wondering, while you
Like-
is there any image in your mind that when you were kind of learning or honing those techniques where you might have misjudged something and it actually turned out to be something that you didn't initially have planned? Because I know we all have those planned shots, but sometimes we have those ones that just, like my kind of foreground vignette shot. Wasn't in mind, but just kind of played out to be something better than I anticipated.
Yeah, I don't think I'm as fortunate with those kind of happy accidents like Mike.
Oh, like Mike. I thought you were gonna call me out.
No,
It's
no,
Mike.
no, no,
Oh,
no.
you're talking about the hummingbird. Yeah.
That
Yeah,
stupid
yeah.
picture comes up all the time.
Well, I think it's because
No. That's an iconic photo. That's kind of the photo of the decade for bird photo of the decade. When I make that competition, 2030, Mike's going to be submitting that, and I think it's already a finalist.
Is that going to
already a
be? Is that going to be run through your Rain YouTube page?
Yeah, it might be. I might make a reel about it. Yeah.
Okay.
You should. Yeah. You should totally just yoink it from him and be like, I took this picture. It's the greatest picture in the world.
Well, he has some competition, it sounds like, coming up from Ray there.
Yes, I was going to ask who did it better.
Oh, did Ray do something? Did I miss something?
Well, I think, since Mike's retired and kind of like he's kind of set the bar there. So Ray has the next 5 years to pull something together.
Fair. That's so. All right, fine. Small in frame. How small is too small in frame? Because I want to know what other people.
You just opened up the next 2 hours of the podcast here.
Yep.
Perfect.
I think I did.
I'll sit back and relax.
No. It's mostly going to be back and forth here, Matt. How small?
Answer his question.
How small is too small in frame?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't have a stat on this, but I wish there was like a quick app or feature in Lightroom or some sort of program that you could select the subject and it would tell you what percentage of the frame that is like covering. Because I'm thinking probably the smallest in frame photos that I've posted that I think look good as a small in frame photo, or probably recently that ptarmigan photo. It's pretty small. It's probably taking up like 1% of the frame. That Merlin photo is probably a bit bigger. It's probably taking up a few percent of the frame. But I think if you're going for that really small in frame, it really needs to stand out as kind of the star of the photo, or it needs to really complement the other star of the photo, which is the environment. So in the case of the ptarmigans, that would be the mountains. So kind of drawing everything together with the white ptarmigan and white snow and the mountains. That's kind of what I was going for there. When I started out, I think I was into small in frame pretty early, and I was posting a lot of photos that were just like bird on stick from 100 miles away, and it was a clean background, but it was just like small and a bunch of negative space. And when I kind of compare that to just like a frame filling portrait of the same shot, it's like the small in frame just doesn't do it for me today.
I think
Yeah.
for those two pictures, I just want to say I think I like the Merlin one, but the ptarmigan one I would scroll past personally. I wouldn't touch it. I like the Merlin.
My mom said she hated the photo. I took a headshot of ptarmigan. She said that's amazing. That's so cute. And the small in frame one, she's like that's not very
I like the pop of color that has like with that the brow.
On
you know,
on the
The
ptarmigan.
headshot, yeah.
Also, it's ptarmigan.
It is ptarmigan, yeah.
Ptarmigan.
I'm kind of looking through your stuff here, and there's not a lot of small in frame stuff. Like a lot of it is, I'm looking at my computer at least. I would argue that some of your smallest stuff is a red-throated loon that you have, and also that rough-legged hawk in front of the turbines.
Oh yeah, that's just a turbine photo. And
yeah, but you know what? It adds layers to it, and obviously with it being silhouetted, like obviously it stands out a lot more than I would say the ptarmigan does.
Yeah, that red-throated loon, I only posted that because that was when I was maybe my first year birding. That was the first time I saw a red-throated loon. I was kind of going for that moody shot. It was a rare bird. I thought it would be cool. It was like, that photo doesn't hold up on a full screen. It's pixelated. It's kind of out of focus. I had to do a bunch of editing to that. So yeah. I like
your at least you're being transparent.
Yeah.
It's nice. I like that, man.
It's a
perfect
shot.
That's
nothing wrong with
that ptarmigan photo. I will say though, like that's not something that's gonna look good on Instagram. that's gonna people within
Agreed.
people in the niche are gonna like that and be like they're gonna appreciate it because they know they can almost see it and know what it would look like on a big
Yes.
screen or on a print.
Mhm.
But
Yep.
someone who's just like scrolling through bird photos doesn't look at bird photos. They're gonna scroll right past that for sure.
That's an excellent.
But
It's an excellent photo for like a background at your monitor at work, or like just a slideshow on your TV when you're not actually
It's-
watching anything.
it's literally on my background right now. I kind of have rotating. I have like 10 photos on rotation. That's one of them.
Yeah,
So
me too.
it literally pops
Do you-
up. Yeah.
Do you have it printed?
I don't have it printed. No.
Because I think it would be really nice printed.
Yeah, I will.
And I think that's where when I'm looking through Instagram and I'm seeing some of these smaller frame or the more of these fine art type stuff, is it's not really the platform for it, and I think it's losing a little bit of pizzazz for because of that. When you're looking at it at a 27-inch 4K monitor or something, like, of course, there's
Yeah.
going to be a lot more to be desired. And I don't look at Instagram on my computer often. Like, this is one of the 2 or 3 times in the last month that I have.
Yeah.
So that's my own, I'm setting myself up for disappointment when, you're going to look at photos like that and wondering, why they're not being presented as well as you would think.
Yeah, for sure. I think a lot about that photo is like if you've seen pictures of Banff and stuff like that on Instagram, like that's one of the most iconic like just landscape photo spots in Banff at Bow Lake there. So people go and they take photos of the mountains, they take selfies and post them on Instagram. But it's kind of a cool story. I'll take a couple minutes here and tell the story of how that photo happened. But I think I was out middle of January this year, and we were up looking for ptarmigans, and no one really ever spots ptarmigans in the winter here because they're really up high in the mountains. So you kind of have to get up high, and then you get up high, and they're in 7 feet of snow, so you can't get through and see them. So we were out hiking, looking for them. Went to the usual spots where I've seen them a couple times in the winter before. Had no luck. Went up to Bow Lake there. There's been a bunch of reports on eBird and stuff like that. We found tracks. We were like walking through the snow trying to find the ptarmigan. Their tracks are really obvious. They're quite distinct, and you can follow them basically right to the bird because it's like they walk like this. They're just like waddling along, and then eventually you find them just at a willow somewhere. But followed them forever, didn't find them. Gave up, and I was kind of giving up on it. And then we were going to go out the next weekend. My friend Katie was like, oh, we should go back and look for ptarmigan again because she really wanted to see one. I'm like, sure, we'll go look for them again. We went up to Lake Louise. We hiked another 8K at Lake Louise. Didn't see them there. Went up to Bow Lake. Weren't really seeing anything. And then we're like driving out, and Katie's like, I think I see some tracks like way over there, like way in the horizon. I'm like, I didn't even see them at all. And then I'm like, oh yeah, okay, I see those tracks like way over there, but it's out in like way steep snow. I'm like, luckily there was a backcountry ski trail. Someone had been skiing up through there, so I'm like, maybe we'll just follow this ski trail, walk in through there, and see if we can get over to those tracks. And we're walking through, and we're getting closer to where there's more dense tracks, and they're all around. They're going in circles through the willows. I'm like, it's hard to tell because it hasn't snowed in 5 days, so these tracks could be 5 days old. They could be 5 minutes old. It's really kind of hard to tell here. We're like going through, we're like sinking through the snow because, your feet aren't as wide as the ski tracks. We probably should have had snowshoes, but
I was going to
just
ask
kinda
that actually.
yeah, definitely should have snowshoes up there. We're like sinking through. And then eventually I'm like, well, there's just like this one cluster of tracks over here. I'm just going to like go off the trail and check them out. So I'm like waddling through like 4 feet of snow, and I'm getting over there. And then all of a sudden I stop and I hear this little chicken noise. I'm like, I think I heard one. And I like look around, and then I take one step, and these 2 ptarmigans just like explode out of the snow right in front of me. The one lands like literally 6 feet in front of me. Yeah, right with the mountains in the background. And I'm like, holy shit. Because the other part of the story is when I was there the week before, I was like, man, if there was a ptarmigan like right at this spot, that would be like a bucket list photo. So it kind of came back the next week, didn't really expect it to happen, and it kind of popped out right in front of me. But we weren't really expecting to find them, so I actually left my my wide-angle lens in the car. So I got Katie over, got her to take some photos, and I'm like, stay right here and watch this ptarmigan. I need to go back and get my wide-angle lens. So I was like running back through 4 feet of snow, like out of breath, got the lens, ran all the way back through, came back. The ptarmigan had moved like maybe 3 feet, and I like dove down in the snow, kind of crawled up, laid down in this little gap through the willows, and it kind of just like waddled down through there, and I kind of got it in the gap there. I think I got it like 25 mils. I was probably
Yeah.
I was probably like 6 feet from the bird. I probably could have, like, ideally for those photos, I'd like to be a little bit closer. That's the best I could do there. So I'm still happy with it.
Yeah,
think it
with
worked.
with obviously with all the activity it took to
Oh yeah.
get your lens and come back. I mean, I get it. Yeah, I get
Yeah,
it.
so
Sure, you want to be a little tighter, but it's, it presents well still.
Yeah, if I had
I
my
kind of
wide
like
angle
it more
lens,
that I know the story.
yeah, if I had my wide angle lens on me when it first flew out there, I probably could have got it a bit closer and maybe a bit of a cleaner shot. I When it first flew there, I took a couple iPhone photos just in case, and then
Yeah.
it was -20 out. My iPhone immediately died, and then yeah, so
So
surprised
does your iPhone have better battery life than the R10?
I think
Like in that temperature at least, because I know that's one gripe that you've had.
I think the iPhone lasts about 6 minutes. The R10's got about 20, so the R10's doing a little bit better. Yeah, the iPhones
yeah.
are notorious. The R10's not that better.
About 4
Not
times
much
better.
Yeah.
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 Well, Kyle, I remember when he bought the R10, he's like, my battery's lasting like 40 minutes.
Oh man.
And I believe you got it in the winter or
I
near
got it in the winter. The first time I went out to use it, it was -24. It was just like it was a normal day in Calgary, like -24. I'm just gonna go out and shoot some birds, walking along. And at that time I didn't really know much about it, so I was still shooting it in like full mechanical mode, which takes a bit more energy there. But also it was just getting cold real quick, and I went to the park with 3 batteries. I was through all 3 of them in half an hour. They just all died. So like, if you're thinking about getting the R10 and you want to shoot in cold weather, I would probably think about the R7 for sure. Just kind of knowing what I know now.
That's interesting. Now, I don't have the same. We do get the same temperatures that you have, but not nearly as often. And I don't think I've ever gone through 3 batteries. Maybe I don't shoot as long as you do, but you said it was like only a half hour.
Yeah, it was quick.
It's pretty wild. Now, did you think I was like insane or a liar, or did you have any regrets when you first got that camera? When you're like, this thing doesn't last more than a Fisher Price camera. Like, it's 40 minutes and I'm done.
Well, part of the reason, like, it was partly user error. Like, I was carrying those other batteries in my backpack, right? So by the time the first one died, they were already dying, right? So I was putting in dying batteries.
Even with the R8, it's the same battery. I think it's optimized better, in my opinion. For some reason, they've optimized it better on the R8, even though it's the same E9 LP battery. But I actually have them in the palm of my hands of my gloves.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't really hinder me that much because they're so small. So I just slide it into my glove and it's just against my palm, and it always has that warmth. So I think I do get kind of near full battery life.
Yeah.
Having it in there. And if I'm not using the camera and I'm going to TTP and I have that 5K walk, I'll have it out of the camera on my cotton carrier, and I'll have it up against my body somewhere.
Yeah. Knowing what I know now, I usually wear like
Sure.
two or 3 pairs of pants when I'm in that type of weather, and they're in my like inner pocket next to my thighs, so they stay a bit warmer there.
Yeah.
People, and by people I mean Matt, always bug me about things that I miss from like Sony that I wish Canon did. I discovered recently a cheat to sort of something that I used to do with my Sonys that I can kind of get away with on the R8, and I wonder if it would work on the R10. So, when you put the thing up to your eyeball, it switches from the back screen to the EVF.
Yep.
You can have it set to auto switch to the eyepiece and do that. If you have the back screen set to go to sleep after 30 seconds, when you put it up to your eye, the EVF will come back on. But the EVF wasn't on for those 30 seconds when it was away from your face. So really, it's only sitting there for 30 seconds with the screen on, and then it'll go off until you wave your hand past the sensor. What Sony used to do, or what I used to be able to do in my Sony, is the back screen would just be off, and the EVF would be off until I put it to my eye. So neither screen is running until you put it to your eye. And I wish that Canon would just have a setting that did that. But you have to cheat to get the back screen to turn off in the auto switching mode, so it kind of acts like it does that. That's the shit I miss about Sony.
I have a question. You have the back screen flipped out and viewed and available?
Yeah, so I can look down quick and see if my settings are while I'm walking around.
I always have mine like closed in, and I have
Yep.
mine set on a 30-second. The whole camera turns off
Yep.
in 30 seconds. Okay.
But
I never use the back screen, like the
for
LCD.
For your move with the camera turning off, you actually have to hit the shutter button to wake it back up.
Yep.
I'll forget to do that every time, so I'll miss the opportunity. So at least if I do it with the sensor, it's up when it's against my face.
Yeah, see, I'll grab it and I'll push the shutter button as I'm bringing it up. Yeah,
Yep.
it's just kind of becomes second nature.
Yeah, I think
That's fair.
I actually don't know what mine's set at, but I think I hit the shutter button every time just to wake it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you only do that once or twice, Kyle, or you should, until you realize I got to remember to do that. You should only get burnt once or twice. If you get burnt more than that, then that's on you.
Well,
I didn't say it wasn't my fault.
It's funny because I was gonna kind of elaborate to that Merlin photo too, because it was kind of the exact same story, a situation that happened with the ptarmigan photo. So I was out getting an oil change. I pulled out that Merlin was on the Pigeon there, and I'm like, oh, no freaking way, and get out. And I had my camera with me. I had my 200-800, my 100-400. I had the full kit because I was heading out shooting after, and I was taking a bunch of photos, and I was like, man, this Merlin doesn't care. It just wants to eat this pigeon. So I was like, oh, maybe I can get a bit closer here and do something with the wide angle. So I go back to grab the 18-35, which I had, but I go to put it on. I'm like, oh, this thing isn't connecting. Like, what's going on here? And I'm like, oh shit, I don't have my EF RF adapter. It's at home. It's at home on my 60-600. I'm like, oh my God, there's no freaking way I forgot that thing. So I was just there sitting, thinking for a second. I'm like, do I just like keep shooting, or do I go and try and get that adapter? I'm like, I'm just gonna risk it. I'm just gonna drive home, try and get the adapter, and hope I come back and that Merlin's still here. So I drive home. It's like a 10-minute drive home. I'm like speeding through downtown, run up, grab my adapter, run back, pull into the parking lot. Merlin's still there in the exact same spot. There's about half the pigeons gone, but it's still there. So I kind of reset, lay down in the parking lot. There's trucks going by. It's like right next to one of the biggest roads in Calgary. There's like a bunch of big trucks flowing by, and I'm just like crawling through the parking lot with my wide angle lens, trying to get close to this pigeon. And I'm like getting closer. I'm getting like some mediocre wide angles, and I'm getting a little bit closer. And then once I got really close, I was probably like, I don't know, 3 or 4 feet away from this falcon that's just like staring at me, eating this pigeon. I kind of like did the approach where you like reach the camera out, and then I was using the LCD screen then because I needed to see what I was shooting there. But probably like once I got the camera way out there, I was probably, I'd say 3 feet from that Merlin, or maybe a little bit less, to be able to shoot it at 20 millimeters there.
It sounds like you have lots of luck of finding something situated, leaving, coming back, and it still being there.
Well, that's the situation. It's like I forgot once. I forgot something when I should have had it for that situation, and then did the exact same thing, because that Merlin situation was maybe like 2 weeks after that ptarmigan. I'm like,
you were on a good streak of luck.
I was on a good streak of like leaving something, coming back, it's still there.
That never happens. Well, certainly not for me.
Do either of you know my picture of the red morph screech owl that I have on my...
Yes.
It wasn't as intense as Rain's stories. Or
I don't think that any of them are.
No, definitely not. But I had my dog for a walk in the park across the street from me, and on the other side, I just happened to walk past this tree, and something red caught my eye, and I looked, and it was the screech owl. And it was one of the times I didn't have my camera, because I've seen some cool stuff in the park, so I usually have my camera with me. It's not that far to my house, but I sprinted back from where that was. I was like, I gotta go get my camera. So I ran back home. My dog's like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I've got a smell of this. I'm like, nope, we are going to get my camera. And so, like, I love the stories of just, like, sprinting or driving really fast back to get your camera to go back. Because there's something about looking like a complete moron to get, like, a sweet bird picture that's just awesome. You're just like, yeah, I'll totally throw my self-image at the window because I want to get this shot.
You should have seen the look on the guy's face in the F-150 when he pulls into the parking lot, sees me laying on the ground in the Lubetown parking lot, and this Merlin flies up in front of his car, and he's like, what the hell? What the hell was that guy doing? And it's right by a bus stop, so there's people just standing at the bus stop, like, looking over at me like, what the hell?
Oh, it's
Anything
great.
for the shot.
Anything for the shot. Yeah.
Anything for the shot.
I agree.
Yeah, I wish I had a friendly Merlin like that. There was one Merlin that used to live in a tree down the street from where I used to live, and it was funny. I think I've said it on the podcast before, but they yoinked a crow nest, so they were just like nesting in this lady's front yard. But like the front yard was littered with like chickadee heads and sparrow wings and like cardinal parts, just like all over their front yard, just ripping apart birds up in the nest. It was so funny because they thought it was so gross, and I was like, "This is super cool! Like this is a Merlin. This is what it does." And the one day I was out there trying to get pictures of it because I heard it screaming around the neighborhood. It landed on a hydro wire that was relatively close to me, so I got some decent shots, but nothing that showed anything interesting in the background or it like in a lube shop parking lot. Like that's pretty neat.
Yeah. The other thing is like, I don't think the encounter is pretty rare, but the actual occurrence of this happening, like this has got to be something that happens daily, right? Like there's thousands of pigeons in all these major cities, and there's raptors that hang out and take them out, like peregrine falcons and stuff like that. It's just a matter of being lucky in the right place at the right time. And it's kind of funny because 2 weeks before this, there was some influencer on Instagram who's like not a birder, but he lives in Calgary, and he was posting this video. He was like narrating the stupid Merlin that was on his front lawn just eating a pigeon, and he was like 10 feet from this thing, and he was kind of narrating it like this thing comes to his yard every day and is taking out a pigeon every day. I DM'd him like, "Yo, can you like drop me a pin for this?" And just completely got ghosted. He didn't respond to me. And then it was maybe, I don't know, 10 days later that this situation happened to me. So
You manifested it.
manifested
right.
it.
So you didn't need that guy.
Yeah.
No.
You do this by yourself.
Yeah, I didn't know that portion of the story. I had seen the photo. I'd spoke to you about the photo, but yeah, I didn't know you had to, or maybe I forgot, but
That's
that you
rad.
had to John. That's good.
Yeah.
You got some
yeah,
luck.
Got some luck.
Do you shoot with final edits in mind when you're out shooting?
Absolutely not.
No.
No.
Nice.
No.
I'm on the right track
I'm just trying to make I'm trying to make sure my highlights aren't blown. That's probably number one, and my darks aren't too dark. That's it.
then. The kiss
That's
to
fair. That's yeah. I feel like I do too. Obviously, if there's a situation where it's a backlit or a silhouette or something like that, clearly you know what you're gonna do when you go home. But yeah, predominantly when you have something front lit, side lit, some sort of background involved. Yeah, I agree. I'm kind of with you where it's nothing really in mind. And 10, I'm sure you do too. We kind of have similar styles. I know you kind of mentioned that when I sent you some photos for your YouTube series. That it's kind of more natural. Kind of how it's presented to you is kind of how you present it.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is because I post my photos on eBird, post the photos on Instagram, post them cross-platform, and I'm posting the same edit on all of those. And obviously, eBird is one where if you want it to look like a eBird photo, it needs to be somewhat realistic. So that's kind of what limits, I think, my edits and kind of keeps me in check to be like, is this a realistic edit? I'm trying to edit it so it enhances the photos, but not so much that when you look at the photo as a photographer, you're like, oh, they used the radial gradient here and they sharpened here and they desaturated and did dehaze here. Like, I don't want my photo to, I don't want other like well-respected photographers to look at my photos and the first thing they see is this is how we edit it. I just want them to look at the photo and be like, oh, that's a nice photo.
Yep.
I might have done a whole bunch of stuff to it. I might have put like 12 gradients on there, but they're all going to be real subtle. Yeah,
that's fair. So it's probably the birder in you probably keeps it a little more honest because you can't really be changing plumage, color, stuff like that.
Invert the
Obviously,
colors.
yeah, it's kind of going to give you away. That makes sense.
For sure.
That makes sense. Okay.
And I personally like that because like I've said it before and I'll keep saying it and maybe it's my slogan or I should get it tattooed on me somewhere. But I like showing birds doing what they're doing where they're doing it. So the lube shop parking lot of a Merlin is like perfect because they're always in downtowns or in anyone's town. They're probably a kilometer away from a Merlin. Like they're always around, but they don't know.
How you called it the lube shot.
The lube shot. Well, it's kind of a lube.
It's
you
funny.
have to get lubed up to slide close to it.
One of the photos, I don't know if it's on his Instagram, but one of the photos he has Popeyes in the background.
Yeah, it was kind of shared parking lot. Like Popeyes was one end.
Yeah.
Lube Town was the other side. Yeah.
And when I saw the photo right off the bat, I thought in my head, "Love that pigeon from Popeyes." Like it popped in my head. Like, so I posted that in the group as my caption. Maybe I am a caption machine.
That's the name of the podcast right there.
Love that pigeon from Popeyes.
You just can't caption your own photos, Matt. It
just feels. It's interesting because it just feels like it's not. It doesn't feel like me. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Sometimes they come to me, and most of the times they don't. But I'll take credit for that one at least.
But greebs be greebin'. That's
it's funny.
Yeah, you're king of the pun.
Someone took that photo and did their own AI edit to my photo. Like someone who just follows me on Instagram, they DM'd me and they just edited like a big crispy chicken sandwich under the pigeon or under the Merlin
instead of the pigeon.
Instead of the pigeon, yeah.
That's incredible.
With the Popeyes sign.
That's clever. I like that. You should post that to your story.
I will. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that's called squab, isn't it? When you eat pigeon. Is that wrong? Am I racist right now? I don't think so.
It sounded racist.
It did, didn't it? Squab.
Real time.
Yeah. I can't spell. Meat. Squab.
We're gonna real time fact check, Kyle.
Squab meat refers to the meat of a young domestically raised pigeon, typically under 4 weeks old. I know stuff sometimes. It did sound wrong though. I didn't like saying it.
Rain, I have heard that having a beard is a requirement for being a wildlife photographer. What do you think about that?
Yeah, what the fuck, man? What are you doing?
I shaved this morning. You should have seen it this morning.
I exclude women, of course, in this situation.
Or just in general. You just exclude women from whatever you're doing.
I just thought that would be a fun question to ask you.
Yeah, no. Give it another 10 years, maybe I'll have some facial hair.
Well, you're only 19, right?
Yeah. Just still coming in.
Yeah.
That can't be true. I don't know how old you are, but you're not 19.
Well, there's a backstory to that. When we first kind of met and he was part of the group, you and another individual had joined at the same time.
Yeah, my friend.
I don't
Ethan.
believe that individual is part of the group anymore because it certainly wasn't Cam.
No.
And one of them was 28 and the other was 19. And we thought the 28-year-old had left and the 19 had stayed and Rain was the 19-year-old. So for months, we had assumed that Rain was 19 years old. The other interesting thing that I just realized or noticed is I asked ChatGPT a couple days ago what it could tell me about Rain as a photographer. And I'm going to pull it up here. Where is it?
You did this for me too.
I did. Oh, I don't know where it is. Anyway, I kind of what it said. Yeah, I don't want to have too much.
You're like, this is what it said. I'm going to actually just make it up and say whatever I want.
I just don't know where it is now.
Can't you just ask him again?
You know what? I'm going to. Can you tell me about photographer?
Fuck it. We'll do it live.
Rain Saulnier.
It's funny. Some of my friends were doing this today. We were trying to ask things like who's the best bird photographer in Alberta, who's the best birder in Alberta, and things like that. And it was actually like giving some pretty detailed answers. Mine came up on one of the queries that said Rain Saulnier is not a birder. He does not participate in the birding community.
So this is interesting. Have you contacted ChatGPT, Rain?
I have not.
Okay, so previously when I asked it, it had said Rain is a wildlife photographer based out of Alberta. Her work includes. So now I just put it in now, and it says he is a Canadian wildlife photographer, bird watcher based in Calgary, originally from rural area just north of Kingston. Rain developed an early appreciation for nature, often listening to eastern whippoorwills from his bedroom window as a child. It actually says his work emphasizes capturing detailed image of birds. So now I think.
Well, that's because I added my pronouns to my Instagram.
Okay.
No,
so
I didn't actually. No.
I had a good chuckle when it was like she, her.
Oh yeah, it was doing that all the time. Yeah.
That's funny.
Well, it's got it right now, and all is well in the world.
Yeah.
I forgot
cool.
I wanted to do this, but in the intro I wanted to do an Our Lady Peace joke, but then I forgot what I was going to say about that.
It was probably the hour of troubleshooting.
Yeah, that was probably
to try
what
to get it going.
distracted
Yeah,
me.
it kind of threw you off.
Well, you probably
like-
thought of that because we were playing Our Lady Peace on the guitar.
We had a
there.
very good
Oh.
jam sesh going on there for a bit.
Yeah, we go to get all the stuff set up, and they both bust guitars out. I'm like, what the heck is going on? Like, that's sick, but didn't know that's what we're doing today.
Yeah, eventually there'll be an Angry Bird Pod Show live concert. We're just practicing for that.
We are jam sesh.
Yeah.
You guys have way bigger plans and are thinking way farther ahead than I was thinking.
Yeah, think
sick,
big.
though. I guess
Fake it
that's
till
true.
you make it. All that stuff.
Yeah, I just deny it till I try it. This is usually what
Crane-
I do.
I know this is your first interview, right? Sounds like our first interview as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
we've
is
done
there
this
a
about
question-
3 times.
Is there a question that you wish people would ask you that they haven't asked you?
Oh,
That's deep. Where'd that come from?
that's a good question. No, I'll have to think about that one, Matt.
Tell me
I'll have to-
quietly.
Okay,
then I'll ask.
I won't put you on the spot.
Yeah, I'll have to think about that.
What's your favorite flavor of chicken from Popeyes?
Spicy. If it's not spicy, I'm ending this right now.
Are you
I'm not a
spicy?
spicy
Are you
guy.
spicy?
I'm not a
Are you
spicy
spicy?
guy.
Oh, I
Me
love
neither.
the spicy.
Nah.
I will do spicy sometimes when I'm feeling a bit spicy, but generally I
On
go.
our
Yeah.
on our road trip back from Florida, we stopped at a Buc-ee's. Anybody would know what a Buc-ee's is?
Big old gas station.
And yeah, it's
Kind of.
great. And we tried a bunch of different things. We had some glazed pecans, amazing. It almost tastes like a pecan butter tart kind of glaze on it. But anyway, we got this Carolina Reaper dill pickle hot sauce, and I've been drinking this stuff recently, and it is spicy, and I love it. So anyway,
Sounds
I'm a big spice guy. No, it's very good. It goes good well on hot dogs, hamburgers, salads, like anything that you think dill pickle would go well in.
Yeah.
So just a little recommendation out there.
I got a dumb question for Rain. Are you afraid that your lens is going to crack in half like I am?
Oh, good question. I wanted you to bring this up.
Yeah, I've only seen this a couple times. I think I heard it maybe from the chat first, some of these posts about the 200, 800 snapping in
Yeah.
half. I don't know if you guys ever watched Jimmy Tatro. The guy's on
No.
YouTube. He was like,
think so.
he was a comedian on YouTube. Anyways, back when the iPhone 6 came out, he made a video about the iPhone 6 was known when it came out for bending. Like it was coming out and they made it real thin compared to the previous iPhone, so it was bending. And he made this just like very satire video about how I sat on my iPhone, I bent my iPhone and it bent. Like what the hell? That's kind of what I think about when I see the 200, 800. It's like if it snapped in half, you probably did something to it that you probably shouldn't have.
That's what I'm thinking. I know people are really rough on things, and they
Yeah.
may not think they are or be aware that they are. But I would think you'd have to be pretty rough on that lens for it to break, like I've seen some of these photos.
Yeah.
This is the definition of Kyle's luck, though, because like I literally get the thing, and then a week later, this article comes out that they're just snapping in half, and I was like, "What the shit? I just bought this thing like a week ago." But I agree. I think people are being dumb with them.
I also got the whatever Supreme warranty. They said I can break it twice and get a new one 2 times. So
Maybe
Oh,
I should have
perfect.
done that.
so
You should test the theory then, since you have the
I will after I got a coverage for 3 years, so I think 2 years 11 months. So
excellent.
Yeah.
I'll
Snap
take it over. Camera store is just over the block here. I'll just take it to the parking lot and drop it in the parking lot, and then I'll walk in the store. Be like, I was just coming in to drop it on the way in.
That'd be so funny as a YouTube video. Just like, let's see if they'll honor this warranty. Bang! Just like right on their step.
Right in the
Walk
parking lot.
Yeah, yeah. The
Speaking of YouTube, if you made a YouTube video of that, what do you think the comments would be like? I know that we've shared a few of your comments that you've had on your previous videos.
I don't know. I think if people didn't think that was funny, there's probably something wrong with them. Maybe the owner of the camera store would comment and be a little bit upset with me, but I mean, it's not on his dime, so it should be okay.
yeah, it should be on Canons, right?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Matt sent me a picture of one of them that the like lens mount itself looked like it pulled out the back, and that was just after a week when we were at one of the parks in Toronto, and I saw somebody walking around with it, and they had like the cotton carrier attached to the camera, and it was just dangling off their chest from the lens mount. Basically, they didn't have the cotton carrier mount on the foot, and I was like, what the frick, people?
It's too much weight.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just improper use.
I don't know if I'm special here in the wrong way or if it's just a
We're all
default thing
special in
that,
the wrong way.
yeah, default thing that the Canon camera store employees have to say. But whenever I go in there with something that's broken or not working well, their default line is, "We've never seen this before. This is the first time we've ever seen this." I'm like, wow, like this has happened to me like 12 times. Like
You're
my
that special.
my R10 right now, I don't know. It was like maybe just after a year I had it, so like just after like the default manufacturer warranty. But literally the like thumb toggle to move
Yeah.
around the focus point, it literally like cracked in half and a piece of it chipped off. And like I never saw this happen. I just remember one day pulling it out of my camera bag and I'm like, oh, my joystick's kind of missing a piece there. So I brought it
Dumb
in. They're
question.
like, yeah, we've never seen this happen. Yeah.
Do you use bug spray a lot?
Yeah, in the summer for sure.
I know
That's what
that
does it. That
it degrades
eats
plastic.
plastic.
Oh yeah.
Well,
That's my guess, because I know Shay had a problem with his R7 and the like eyepiece and all the like letters and numbers and stuff rubbing off.
Oh, yeah.
He eats his camera though.
yeah. He eats it, nibbles on it, but he also hates bugs, so he probably just dosed his camera in the spray as well.
Just squirted it on there. Yeah, I'm conscious. I don't know. I have like a mechanical kind of background, so when I see people walking around with like lenses being improperly carried and stuff, I'm like, no one has mechanical sympathy anymore. Like, no one's like thinking about how this thing is attached to this thing and like what. Like, I know someone who had to send her D500 and 200 to 500 back to Nikon like twice because she was picking it up from her like shoulder strap by just the grip, and she actually bent the mount on both the lens and the camera. And I was like, support the lens, like hold it underneath. Like, it's come second nature to me, but it's one of those things I'm like, come on, people, like it's not built to be going through wars and stuff. Like, it's not an L lens. But I don't know.
It's
Maybe
not,
I'm
yeah.
talking about
And
too
that EF stuff is built a lot different, you know. So
Yeah. Back in the day
This
when
is
we
what it
used
is.
metal for stuff and we just use plastic for everything now.
yeah. But I like plastic because it makes it cheaper and more affordable.
You love F11. You love slow.
It's not that I love F11. I love my budget.
That's true. You're a thrifty
Well,
individual.
That's right.
There's
Well,
a little-
Rain, I know you have a flight to catch. I don't want to hold you too long if you need to.
No,
Oh, no,
I'm
it's-
holding him here for an hour because his camera didn't
All right.
work.
It's only-
Rain is coming from the west to the east in the morning to come visit his family. I know that, and I do want to ask a question about that quickly. This guy I think got brought up in the chat by Mike. Who are the better shooters, the West Coasters or the East Coasters?
Ooh.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have to go to the central. We're gonna have to go to Manitoba. We're gonna have a shoot off.
A shoot off?
Oh, we're gonna meet in the middle and just do a shoot.
We're gonna meet in the middle where we have a little bit of the east, a little bit of the west, and then we're gonna. It's
That's
gonna
admirable.
be. It's gonna be like the Hunger
that's-
Games. We're all gonna start in a
yeah.
circle. There's gonna be a big countdown, and then you all have to run in the forest for 24 hours and come back. Like,
Is
mean,
that when the
admirable of you.
concert's
I mean,
gonna happen? or
I'll
is that-
probably only last an hour because my battery will die. But so I'll have to make do there.
Have you ever considered a wheeled cart and a generator?
Just-
I haven't.
But okay, does your little dummy battery have a USB-C on the other side, or is it like a
No,
plug?
but I could get that.
Yep.
I could hook that up.
Yeah, me
Yeah,
and Matt were
and
talking about that.
Matt and I talked about that.
Yeah, I did mention it to Rain. I think he got the same one as I did, which doesn't have the USB, but it's cheap enough. You know,
Yeah.
try it out.
Yeah.
Just bring those power inverters or something and a really long extension cord back to your car. Easy peasy.
There you go. He'd forget to connect it and have to go back.
Go back, run back, drive 10 minutes. That's it.
And I got time here, guys. It's only 8:30 here, so.
Okay, yeah, I just didn't want to keep you too long. I know you got an early flight, so I just wanted to at least be aware
Yeah.
of that. That's all.
Yeah, I'll
That's all
probably sleep on the flight a little bit and catch up.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Now the problem is it sounded like you were going to close the podcast out, and I don't know what to talk about it anymore. What?
I guess I
is
did
your
do that a little
favorite color?
prematurely. I did that a little prematurely, didn't I?
You'll just
I,
have to edit. You'll
I
just
need
have
to-
to edit this part out.
No, you leave it in because it makes us seem
This might be
more
the-
amateur.
This might be the first time you have some editing to do. We usually keep it just raw. This is what you get.
Don't
But
tell people.
With the R10 battery failing,
Was that what it was?
after 10.
Oh, I knew it.
No, I'm just assuming it was.
No, it didn't fail. It was something
Yeah,
on.
this is weird.
It was a MacBook issue, of course.
Of course it was a MacBook.
Of course.
I actually have been thinking I kind of want an R10. I miss having two bodies, and I was like, that's probably a decent one I could get for relatively expensive. But
I still think, well, you want to use it as a second body. I was gonna say for a video camera, like an RP would be nice to use as a dedicated
that's true.
podcast type video or body. But if you do want to use it in the field as a backup, I mean, you probably don't want to be shooting an RP.
The concept that I like is, and I don't know, maybe someone else here can explain why this is not used very often. People always slap teleconverters on, but like, why wouldn't you instead just slap a crop sensor on instead of a teleconverter? Like, I feel like that's a better option and could be almost the same price.
It really.
If you buy it used, yeah, like a used R10 versus a brand new TC
1.4,
is probably close.
What do you think, Rain?
Well, it's just if you use the teleconverter, you're going to get a bit more depth of field there. On assuming you're using it with a full frame versus switching to the crop sensor,
You're
going to get a bit. Yeah. Yeah, you do.
Well, it's only 1.4 versus 1.5. Well, depending on 1.5 or 1.6, depending on your APS-C size.
Well, right. I just kind of explain the extreme scenarios, right? Like if you use the tiniest sensor possible, you used your iPhone, the depth of field's gone.
I'm going to go with P1000. Get that 3,000 millimeters of super duper tiny postage stamp size sensor. Actually, a postage stamp is way bigger than the sensor in that thing. Postage stamp's actually kind of big. That's more of.
Have you ever tried to use the crop mode on the R8?
Me?
Kyle?
I guess Rain doesn't have an R8, so that makes sense.
No, it's just like nine. It's like 9 mega. I think it's like 9 megapixels.
I haven't. The reason that I was playing with it the other day actually, because there's the like digital teleconverter, which is just a crop into a JPEG. So I was like, why wouldn't I just crop later? But then there's the actual like reduction in sensor size.
Yep.
And I was like, I would just crop after. Like, I don't see why there would be a benefit in doing that.
There's not. I think I've tested it, and I still think they look the same.
Yeah.
I think the only reason you'd want to use the crop sensor is if, let's just say, you were using like an RFS lens. You could put it into crop and not have the vignetting and stuff like that.
Well,
I mean, that's maybe where it kind of.
That Sigma 18-35 that you have, that's a freaking dope lens still. Like, that's a sweet lens.
Yeah, I use it for everything. Using it for the webcam right now.
It's an APS-C lens, right?
It is. Yeah.
Yeah.
I almost bought one once. So there was this guy selling one in Toronto, and I was sending him messages about it, and he just like stopped messaging me. But I noticed that he had other lenses for sale. So because I'm a ridiculous individual, I was like, I'm gonna message him about this other lens, but then talk about the previous lens. So I was like, messaging him about this. It was like a Viltrox like manual focus thing, and he actually responded to me. And I was like, oh, I was just trying on this ad, but like I kind of want that 18-35. And it was a really beat to shit one, and it was like way cheaper than any other one. I was like, perfect, I'll get a good deal on it. And he's like, yeah, man, totally. We agreed on a price. I drove to Toronto, which is quite a hike from my house, and I get there, and he was like, here's the lens, and handed me the Viltrox one, and I was like, oh, no, I'm here for the Sigma. And he's like, oh, and he like opens his phone, and then he was like, read my message where I was like, I'm messaging you about the other one. He's like, I totally missed that. I sold that lens already. And I was like, crap. But he didn't have to do this. He gave me $20 for my drive. And I was like, oh, well, you didn't have to thank you. I was like, it was just me being an idiot, really. But I was like,
give you $20 and sent you on your way.
Yeah, you're kicking the ass. Get out of here. But like, I almost had that lens. But if I did, I would definitely use the crop mode on R8 for how good that lens is. But
yeah, it's pretty funny. I got that lens in 2019. I remember I was pretty new to photography at the time. I'd been doing it for about a year. I had the 18-55 kind of kit lens, and I was like, I want to get something with a bit more depth of field so I can do like astrophotography or landscape or portraits or whatever. So I got that lens for I think $600 used at the time, which felt like it was a pretty good deal. But I remember watching a bunch of YouTube videos at the time and trying to figure out like if this lens is too old or like if it's outdated and stuff because it came out in 2013. So I like was trying to figure out, is this old? Is this not up to date anymore? And now 6 years later, I'm like, this lens is still like magnificent, working like flawlessly on the mirrorless APS-C cameras, and now using it for wildlife and YouTube stuff. Like it's a pretty all-around lens.
Yeah, I am kind of annoyed about that situation, but now it's kind of funny just because I'm like, oh, well, I end up getting the Sigma has a 17 to 50 that they have a few versions of it. I got one of the older ones, and then I didn't really like it because the focus motors were really loud, and that one acted, because it was older, super dumb on the R7. It would like hunt forever back and forth, and it'd be like and just make all the noise in the world. When it did lock on, it was decent, but like I couldn't put up with its shenanigans, so I was like, get this thing out of here. And I sold the R7 anyway.
Yeah, I noticed the 35 does it sometimes in photo mode. It does rack at times. Video, obviously, because everything's kind of slowed down. It's not so bad, but yeah.
How fast is it? Come on.
I do plan on trying to do some Astro with it, so we'll see. It's been a few years since I've tried. I've kind of gone full wildlife, and I need to kind of branch out a little bit.
You should do.
I think we all need to branch out and just try a few new things. You know what I mean?
You should do wide angle,
like Rain's doing Reels, YouTube.
You should do wide angle wildlife and super telephoto Astro, just like 1 star. Be like, perfect.
Well, it's like
at F11.
At F11, yeah.
Oh,
you got to get the whole star in focus. You can't just have the front piece.
Yeah, I don't think I'll have a problem. It'll look like a bunch of other stars because of all the noise.
Yeah. What's the depth of field calculation for something that's billions of light years away?
Billions and billions and billions.
And billions. Rain, I noticed one of your pictures with the 2 to 8, you have do you have a lens coat on it or the Roland Pro one?
I do have the Roland Pro. Yeah, that's the first lens coat I've ever used. Figured I'd take care of my new fancy lens. That's the first.
You guys just want to?
Me too.
Do you guys want to do the podcast? Do you guys want to just do the podcast together?
Yeah. We don't need you anymore. We're the 200-800 club.
200-800 Roland Pro.
Yeah.
I was just curious.
Like an exposure compensation.
Whoa.
Fucking bullshit.
Actually, you have the 60 to 600 too.
And the 60 to 600. Yeah. You know what? Next week, join Rain and
Lens Talk with Rain.
We're gonna be crawling up on this like little shorebird on the beach. We're gonna be getting there minimum focus distance like 10 feet. Matt's gonna be waiting back behind us, like shooting our butts because he can't get any closer.
You're wrong. I'm gonna be at Mossport with Michael.
Oh, okay. That'd be sick.
I'm gonna be shooting cars with Michael and his new boyfriend John.
Nice.
The problem is you're gonna ask me how to do it because you both think that I'm better at cars than birds.
I certainly will. I haven't tried, to be honest. I haven't tried it. Like I said, I got to try some new things. I've always been interested in it, but just going out and taking the time to go do it, I haven't tried.
Yeah.
But you're pretty good. You did pretty good that one time.
I think the R8 won't be awesome at doing the. Well, here's the thing. I hate the rolling shutter. Like everything is slanted one way, so when you're panning and this thing doesn't have a mechanical shutter, everything's going to be slanted. So when I did those, I was using the R7 in mechanical mode, so I didn't have that rolling shutter problem.
Is it not reduced in first curtain though, or no?
It is, but then you're only getting 6 frames per second.
You can still potentially make it happen. Come on, you're a
plap,
pro.
plap, plap, plap.
You got a Roland Pro.
That's true.
You're a pro.
Did you get the same one there?
I did, yeah. So I had the lens coat on the 60 to 6. So with this one, my buddy who we met at TTP or Sam Smith the other week, he had the Roland Pro on his Nikon 400 4.5, and I didn't realize that it was like a different material because when I bought the 60 to 600 from Alex, he had the lens coat on it, and it was, for me, added too much bulk and it was too squishy, so it felt like I was gonna like drop the lens or slide out of my hands. I much preferred how thin and like sort of more canvasy feeling this one was.
Oh yeah.
So I was like, I'm gonna get that.
Oh, it's real nice.
Pain in the ass to put on.
Oh, it probably took me an hour and a half to get that thing on.
the piece that goes over the like zoom turny thing took me probably 15 minutes on its own.
Oh yeah,
Mr. Lens coat over here.
getting over the rubber piece there. Yeah.
Oh man, it took me 6 months. I was like,
I think it's hilarious that they give you that piece to go over like the internal zooming piece, you know?
I know. I saw that in his photo, and I'm like, what's the point
Like
of that?
who the hell is ever going to use that? Like, oh, I'm just
I
gonna
got that. Yeah,
I'm zooming out here. One sec. Let me put my lens coat on.
I got the same thing for the 100-400 with the lens coat, and I'm like, what am I going to use this for? It's in my drawer on my nightstand. I'm like,
it's just in
been
my
there
backpack
for
right
3
now.
years.
What's kind of cool about it though is it has like 2 Velcro spots, so you
Yeah.
can store it on the piece behind the lens hood, and then you just take it off and stick it on when you want it. But I was like, I thought if they made it like squishier, you could like squish it and zoom back into like 400 or something, but it's pretty stiff, so it just like it doesn't really go anywhere.
There's
So
no
it's like,
way.
all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't do that. The lens will break in half.
It's true. Maybe that's what people are doing.
Roland
Like-
Pro is to blame.
Roland Pros out here cutting lenses in half. I think there's a new one called like, actually it might be called like bird wings or angel wings or something wings, not Wings by Rain, but like something else wings, and it comes with like a net version over that part. So there's like a more flexible piece of fabric that kind of attaches at the both ends and gives you a little bit of protection and camo in that area. But I don't know, something else to think about. I do too much reading about products before I buy them, so I research the shit out of like every version of every one of them, watch every YouTube video twice, and then I'm like, I'll get the first one I thought about.
I think it's smart.
It borderlines on obsessive in certain cases.
Do you ever have buyer's remorse? You're thinking about
Rarely.
it, so probably not. Yeah, rarely.
Rarely.
So you're doing the right research.
Yeah, usually I go into somewhere, especially if I'm being like having to talk to a salesman. I'm like, nope, I know more than you. Get out of my face. I know what I want. In cameras, I don't think I've had buyer's remorse, but I do still, if I'm choosing between 2 options and pick one, wonder what it would have been like with the other one. So it's not remorse, it's just still like thinking about something else.
It's the unknown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get
Fair
that.
enough. Fair enough.
Whatever that is.
I get instant buyer's remorse, even if I've done the all the research. I just don't like spending money. So it's
Well,
more just like the fruit.
That's why other Kyle has your 200 to 800.
He does. He does. Yeah. I'm gonna get that 300, 600, 5.6 when it
5.6.
comes out.
That'll be, but that's,
If it ever comes out.
I thought I read somewhere that's supposed to be an L lens, so that's going to be $1 billion anyway. So
I don't know if it is.
yeah, well, here's the thing. Here's what I'm thinking. Let's hear you go first.
I just gotta say, whether or not it's marketed as an L lens, all those types of super telephotos that are coming out now in terms of sharpness, they're spot on. It's just gonna be whether it's weather sealed or like niche things like that to make it an L lens. I think it's gonna be sharp regardless. They're not gonna make a lens that big and fancy with that much hype and have it be disappointing sharpness wise. Like that just doesn't happen anymore as far as I've seen
Yeah,
in these new mirrorless lenses.
I think the
Yep,
1 to
I agree.
4 proved that to me immediately because Matt got it.
Yeah.
And I was like, why would I want that? I want this big, heavy metal Sony. Like, why would I have this 1 to 4? And then he's showing me these like way sharper shots than me with his R10 and that. I'm like, what the fuck? Why do I have all this metal shit? Like, why can't I just use this plastic thing?
Oh yeah.
I don't know how they did it, to be honest. Yeah, there's limitations, of course, like anything, but and it seems like almost every copy is that good. Like there's not really any wavering like
Yeah.
you used to see.
No.
Yeah, it's actually
So-
kind of impressive.
I mean, I can still see it being a $5,000 or $5,500 lens, but like it's not like that Sony GM50 150 f2. Like it's a $5,500 lens, where Tamron has a 35 150 f2 2.8 for $2,000.
Yeah.
That's insane.
That's a big.
Is it just because it's a
big
G
difference.
Master?
Yeah. It's a G Master,
Wow.
and Sony does that thing where it limits the like frame rate on third-party lenses. So like,
Sure.
if you
But
want
who's buying a 50 150 and needs over 15 frames?
sports people,
A 50 150 though? That's basically
it's like a 70 to
glorified
200
portrait
except
lens.
different.
Yeah.
Have you seen Jared took it to the baseball diamond there and took like 12 photos with it.
Oh,
Jared pulled.
wonderful. That's
Yeah.
worth the 5,500.
Yeah, so it's a sports
Because
lens.
he paid for it.
Yeah, it's a sports lens. Have you not seen the video?
Have you not seen Jared Pullen use it at the baseball time? Like he does
Who?
with every.
I shoot JPEG.
Oh,
No, I'm kidding.
Alliance. Will he sue me for
No,
saying
I
that?
just. It's just one of those Sony things where it's just like they'll slap the GM on it. They'll make it a beautiful lens. Don't get me wrong, and then everyone's just gonna go out and spend, 3,500 American on this thing.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's a
crazy.
neat lens, but I don't.
I think it's a pretty cool lens. Like I was even.
Oh no, I'm not saying I get
Yeah.
I get caught up in price and value of what else is available. That's all. That's all it is.
100% agree. I was just gonna say, innovation wise, like it's pretty cool. Like even I had caught myself last week. I think it just popped up in my marketplace. Someone was selling one of those old 50 to 100 Sigma 1.8s.
Yep.
But
Yep.
it's kind of like the brother of the 18 to 35 1.8, might say. But it's just, from what I've read, the image quality, it just isn't in the same level as the 18 to 35. So I don't. If I'm gonna buy a lens today, I want the image quality to be good because all the new mirrorless lenses just have.
Yeah.
It's kind of a new standard. It's kind of frustrating
Sure.
to shoot anything that isn't sharp if you hit focus.
And most of these, I don't know which ones miss, but a lot of these RF lenses are coming out with are checking all those boxes off, regardless if they're L or an L
Yeah.
lens or not.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
I guess
You can not spend a lot of money and get good quality photos. It's possible.
I've got a YouTube video on that. Yeah.
Yeah,
I was
you
just
do.
scrolling through your pictures and you were like talking about the plastic fantastic 1 to 4, and I
Yeah.
was like, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
Well, it's
great. Like, yeah.
How'd that video do?
I still getting some views. I think it's just slowly, people are searching for the lens and they're finding the video.
Yeah.
It's also really funny, just kind of new to YouTube, but seeing some of the analytics. I think one of the funniest things to see on YouTube is looking at the search analytics and finding someone who found your video with a completely unrelated search. And you can see exactly
Yeah.
how long they watched your video. So there's some people that searched like, I don't know, like Our Lady Peace, like 4 a.m. and then they find my video somehow and watch it for 13 minutes. It's like what was this guy on when he was searching for YouTube videos and got that distracted? Like,
Well, do you
Yeah.
ever like fall asleep with like YouTube on and then you wake up in the morning at
I have.
2 a.m. and it's gone some like
Yeah.
alien conspircy shit and you're like, that's
Oh, yeah.
not what I clicked on.
But this is like direct, like search, click on the video.
Oh, I
That
see.
would have been like in the analytics of like related video, right? So this is like someone searched my video and somehow, or didn't
That
search
makes
my
me a
video,
little
found my
self-conscious.
video.
Because like if
And stayed to watch majority of it,
Yeah.
which is interesting because you don't even know if they're a photographer. If they're searching Our Lady Peace, you'd assume there's no correlation.
Yeah. And
Certainly,
and then
need-
there's just funny searches, like people searching like best DSLR mirrorless camera, like stuff like that.
R10
like
comes up.
Canon like R7 Mark IV, like things that don't exist. Like people are just searching, like the most ridiculous stuff, and they end up on your video.
I feel like there's a market for you to have some satirical videos that may be a
Oh,
R7 Mark IV.
R74 Mark 36.
Yeah, I'll just
review.
I'll be the first one with an R7 Mark IV review video.
It would be quite funny.
It's gonna have
Before-
8K. It's gonna shoot like 200 frames a second. Yeah. Yeah,
Before an
I'll
embargo even like gets thought about, you're just putting reviews out already. That'd be sick.
Nobody's doing it. There is a niche. There's a niche market there.
When you said that you could see
Some nuance.
see someone looked at your video, I wonder if it says to Dwayne Payton that some idiot in Canada's watched his Crikey What a Ripper video about this 100 to 400 like 14 times, and it's me like just like bored. I'm like, I'll watch this video again. I need to be amped that I have this lens.
Interestingly enough, Rain actually contacted Dwayne to ask him for permission to actually make a 100 to 400 video.
No, I was gonna ask to use
I know. You did contact him, though. I'm kidding. That was my segue.
I messaged him on Instagram, and then I looked at his profile. I'm like, this guy hasn't posted a photo since 2020. There's no way he's going to respond to me. He doesn't use Instagram. And then, I don't know, like 12 hours later, he responded, hey, good day, mate. you can use whatever you want from my content. Feel free to go after it. And then I was like, oh, great.
Good luck with your video.
I'm just gonna just screen capture your video and then just AI my face on and add a Canadian accent, and I'm just gonna upload it a day after yours and just optimize the SEO. And then I'll have the screenshot. He said I could use this video, so I'm covered.
Contracts binding.
That's hilarious.
Yeah,
that just proves that he's probably a genuinely nice person.
Yes,
and that's good.
Oh, he is.
And we need to get we need to really get our shit together if we want the goat on.
The goat,
goat
Dwayne.
Yeah,
actually,
seems like a great guy.
At my dentist on Tuesday, he comes in and he was telling me that his son is getting really into bird photography. So he had already purchased an R6 Mark II, but then he bought the 150 to 600 contemporary so his kid could just fart around and take pictures and stuff. He's like, yeah, he's been watching a lot of videos from this Australian guy. And I was like, Dwayne Payton? He was like, yeah. And I was like, that guy's great. So, like, he's doing good work. Like, he's the reason I learned some stuff. And I'm sure everyone's picked up something from him.
He's relatable. He's easy to listen to.
I'll show you one of them.
He's the goat.
Yeah, he's got the accent. It's just like he sets up.
Never even used this, but I was like, I need this because Dwayne uses one.
What do you call that? Your fry pod?
The fry pod. Yeah.
Yeah.
I used it once. True story.
Yeah.
That's very East Coast.
It's funny because I think a lot of a lot of these YouTubers get big kind of as wildlife photographers through YouTube, and then kind of in our chats, like we talk about them and kind of like put the standard up. Well, since they're a big YouTuber, they should be a really good photographer as well. But I guess kind of what I've learned is it takes a lot of time to make YouTube videos. So like the amount of time that they're putting into making the YouTube videos, like that's what they're good at. They don't have a lot of time to actually go out and think about taking good photos. So they're kind of just taking what they get and they include it in their video. Whereas, somebody who goes out 7 days a week and just takes photos, it's easy for them to say, I got some better photos this week than Dwayne Payton. Yeah. But I mean, Dwayne Payton's spending probably 60 hours a week making videos, if not more.
Yeah, I think he's realized that too. I think one of the last videos I saw of his was kind of behind the scenes where he's like, you put the camera here, you walk. Oh, now you got to walk back and get the camera.
Yep.
Now I got to have the Ninja Atmos Ninja running so you can see my EVF. And I forgot to turn it on. So he's kind of just he kind of explains exactly what you just said there. There's a lot more that goes into it, and there's a lot less time left over afterwards.
Yeah,
for sure. Not to throw shade at anybody, but one of the ones that always pisses me off. Okay, fine. One of the ones that always pisses me off is petapixels. Not that either of them piss me off, but they'll be like, "Yeah, this camera's okay. It takes some dope pictures," and they'll post a picture of like a fence. I'm like, "What is this picture? This is nothing. This doesn't show me anything about the camera or the lens or whatever you're talking about." They're just like, "Look, it's a black and white picture of a fence." Great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
I think those type of reviews are hard because
probably
you have to take the camera at face value with no edits, straight out of camera, work with the area that you're in. So you can only get so much out of it.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
And they're testing.
I was gonna say all these big YouTubers that have the biggest followers, like Jared and Tony Northrup and all of them, like they're trying to make videos that hit a huge audience, right? And they're trying to hit popular themes and stuff like that. Like a new piece of gear comes out, they're all going to review it. They're all going to give their take on it. They're all going to make videos like how to use your camera 101, like all these basic things that a million people are going to watch. Like same thing with Peter McKinnon and stuff like that. So they're really good at knowing a lot of general stuff. But then when you get into like more of a niche, like when you get into bird photography, probably Dwayne Payton's probably one of the first people you're going to find because he makes general bird photography videos. Like he's not really getting into the niches of bird photography. He's just like, this is all the gear you should look at, and these are the things that you should be considering. And then if you go further into the niche, you can get into like, I don't know, like Steve Perry. He's probably still pretty general, but you could get into like all the way like looking at some of Ray Hennessy's videos and stuff like that that are getting really niche into that craft. And it's fun. I just find it funny that the people that know the most about a certain topic have the smallest audience. So as you kind of zoom that all the way back out to like the people that are making videos on everything, and they're just like getting a piece of gear and they go out for a day and they test it out and they give you a review, like that's probably going to be an okay review. Like they've tested a lot of other stuff, but it's not going to be anything like a detailed review that if you've used the lens for 6 months in a specific niche, like that's the types of videos you should be watching if that's what you're going to use the lens for.
Right. Yep, that's fair. That's a fair assessment.
Yeah.
That's true. I have, because I do deep dive into lenses or anything I want to buy. Lenses. And I'll find these YouTubers that have like 350 followers talking about really in depth about some piece of gear, and they're really knowledgeable about it.
Yeah. Oh,
I'm
yeah.
like, this needs to have more views. People need to know this stuff.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Some of the smallest YouTubers, you go out and you find them, like you're saying, Kyle, and they have tons of knowledge on this very specific topic, but it's just not hitting a huge audience. Yeah.
Do you guys know, I think his name's Fabian Fopp, I think.
Yeah, I think I've seen his videos.
Yeah, I find his videos, he gets into more of like the nitty gritty of stuff, and like and I appreciate that because that's what I do. So I'll go buried in camera menus to try to find some setting to make me the best photographer in the world. Haven't been able to find anything, but like he'll go in there and talk about like the changes that he's made to try to change something or do something, and like that's kind of what I like. But I know that it's not necessarily the videos for everyone, but I think they have value for the right person for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
So yeah, I think that's kind of what I'm struggling with, because I realize there's like very general videos that I could make that'll hit a huge audience. They might have already been made. Do I really want to spend 50 hours making a YouTube video that's already been made, even if it gets more views, or do I want to make something that, I don't know.
Yeah, more nuance.
Couple hundred people watch, but they get a lot of value out of it.
Yeah.
It's kind of that trade-off. I'm trying to figure out what's in between there.
Mm-hmm. That's fair.
Yeah. It's even like with this podcast, like I have this like, you guys are thinking about concerts and stuff we're gonna do. That's great. But I'm out here going like, how can we make it? I always think about, this is a ridiculously scatterbrained thought, but I'll get there. The show Top Gear for a long time was an excellent show because someone who would be into cars would love this show, and someone who wasn't into cars would watch it with them because it was hilarious. And like there's other stuff you could get from it that wasn't just cars. And I was like, how can I use that same concept and bring it into this podcast? I don't know if that's sort of what you're thinking about, Rain, but it's like, how do I make this what I want to make, but also be fun, or someone else that isn't into the niche take something from it too.
And entertaining outside of the niche. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Are we doing that?
I don't know.
Leave a comment. Let me know.
I'd love a comment or an email or something we could talk about. Like, that'd be sick. Not that I'm not having fun talking to guests and whatnot.
We know people listen.
There's at least
5 people that listen to this.
At least. Yeah. Maybe 7.
And 3 of them are on currently.
Right now. Half the audience is right here.
Rain, leave a comment on your video.
All 3 of us will leave a comment. The engagement will
I'll leave a comment. Post a pinned comment. I'll respond to it.
Perfect. Okay. We'll do.
Okay. Well.
Yeah. I
think we're there.
Whelp as well.
Yeah.
This was...
Rain, I want to thank you. I talk to you all the time, but I also, a lot of people out there need to see your reels. They need to see your YouTube videos. They need to go check out your Instagram feed. He's a very good photographer. Mm-hmm. I don't say that because he's my friend. I say that because he's talented. No, he is. He really is.
I don't say that because he's
you think
my friend.
So?
I don't know.
You don't think so?
No.
Because I'm definitely here. I'm here to shit on friends. Like, I like that banter and stuff. So, I can be genuine. I can be genuine too.
There's this YouTube channel that I watch, and the one host said, it's like, "You're not my real friends. You're my work friends." And everyone was like, "What?" They kind of had the same energy.
There is a difference.
Oh, for sure. But you don't talk about it. You don't say it. But it's just,
I'm sorry.
It was funny. No, I thought it was funny. Rain, I hardly ever talk to you, and I thought this was great. So take that.
No, this
there
was
you
awesome.
Go. There you go.
A lot of fun.
There's your confirmation.
We had a few hurdles, but we
got over it.
We got over it.
It's all about how you get over stuff.
Next time we'll just sail right through.
That's right. Maybe we'll add some guitars next time.
We will. Yeah.
We'll do a little jam session.
You guys should both learn the intro of the song.
I think you say learn how to play the guitar.
You guys should both learn to play the guitar first, and then we'll have a chat after that.
Yeah, we should learn the intro and really put our spin on it.
Have a nice bluegrass chill version of it.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
That'd be kind of fun.
All right.
Cool.
Well, appreciate it, Rain. Thanks for joining us. Every time we have a guest, we allow the guest to start the music. Anytime you want the music to start, I'm sure you've listened to at least one episode. You cue it in. We just want to thank you for coming on and joining us. And this has been the Angry Bird Pod Show.
Let's play the music.
It's boom. Boom.
All right.
Anyway.
Thanks for listening, guys. Like, subscribe, do whatever you can. Leave us a comment. Go see Rain stuff. YouTube, Instagram, Wings by Rain. Thanks for listening.
Peace. Love y'all.
Dropping wings on blast. Tune in next week. This one never in the past. Eagles, hawks, and kestrels flying so divine. Peep the live broadcast, podcast goldmine, twisting in the air. Birds of every kind. Critics gonna chirp, but they ain't ever died. Zooming in on sparrows, robins in the mist. Matt's got the shutter, Kyle's got the twist. Feathered friends in flight, equipped with the strut. Angry Bird Pod Show, capturing the cut. Oh, they click in the snap, see the birds on the map. Angry Bird Pod Flow, flipping through the recap. Kyle and Matt, dropping wings on blast. Tune in next week, this one never in the past. On the twilight, watch the colors flash. Birds of every shade in a photogenic dash. No need for fame, just the birds flying free. Angry Bird Pod Show, bringing all the glee. Oh, they click and they snap, see the birds on the map. Angry Bird Pod Flow, flipping through the recap. Kyle and Matt, dropping wings on blast. Tune in next week, this but never in the past. Eagles, hawks, and kestrels flying so divine. Keep the live broadcast, podcast goldmine, twisting in the air. Birds of black, so fine. Brain Matt, dropping wings on blast. Tuning in next week, this but never in the past. In the past. Tuning in next week, this but never in the past. In the past. Zooming in on sparrows, robins in the mist. Matt's got the shutter, Kyle's got the twist. Feathered friends in flight, equipped with the strut. Angry Bird Pod Show, capturing the cut. From dawn to twilight, watch the colors flash. Birds of every shade in a photogenic dash. No need for fame, just the birds flying free. Angry Bird Pod Show, bringing all the glee. Oh, they click and they snap, see the birds on the map. Angry Bird Pod Flow, flipping through the recap. Kyle and Matt, dropping wings on blast. Tune in next week, this one never in the past. From the past. Not shortcut. Not shortcut. Angry Bird Pod Show, bringing all the glee. Bringing all the glee.